Hi, hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Amber and I am back with another review. And this time I'll be reviewing The Killing Season by Mason Cross. This is the first book in a series and I do not know what the series is called. I do have the second book right here. Let's see if it tells me what the series is called. Okay. No, it does not tell you what the series is called. But it is a mystery, thriller, suspense novel, and The Killing Season we're introduced to Carter Blake, there we go, he doesn't like being called a bounty hunter, but he is somebody who specializes in finding people who do not want to be found, and he gets paid for it. Sounds like a bounty hunter to me, right? I don't know. Anyways, so in The Killing Season, a serial sniper killer is on the loose. Like, he was in prison, they caught him, the FBI caught him, and he ends up escaping, and now he's back to his same old routine of killing people with the sniper. And they bring in the head honchos of the FBI, bring in Carter Blake to help them find this guy. I did not like this book. I give it 2 stars. It is boring as fuck. Excuse my language, but boring. Boring and boring. Okay, like, you would think with a thriller, suspense novel, exciting, but I just found it very, predictable in the way things played out. I just didn't really like it. I felt like we got stuck way too long in the serial killer's head, and we barely got to know Carter. And I get like there's supposed to be like this whole mystery around him, because like they don't really know, like, he has no history. Like, they tried looking him up in the databases, there's no history. And then in the book, like, there's like this connection back to the sniper killer with him, but like we don't really get any answers about that. And like, it's fine if we don't get all the answers, but like we should have an idea of who this guy is. And like, I couldn't tell you who he was. I feel like we got to know so much about the serial killer though. Like, did I really need to know all this much? No, I don't think so. I think yeah, I don't know. He dedicated way too much time with the serial killer, not enough time with Carter. And also the only book series that I know for sure that does this, but I bet you that a lot of these male authors do this when it comes to their mystery thriller novels. Like, you can tell me if I'm right, but they always have a male protagonist who ends up in each book with some other woman, whether they fall in bed or not. Like, there's always like this sexual romantic tension, and then the next book they're with someone else, you know, or end up partying with someone else. Like, this book does this. And I only know for sure another series, which is the Robert Langdon series, you know, Angels and Demons, The Da Vinci Code. Every book he's with another woman, in like terms of like they're trying to solve that puzzle together, but there's always like some kind of romantic tension, sexual tension going on with each one. And I feel like these series are gonna fall apart the line, because in the next book here, it's like LAPD detective, whereas in this one it's an FBI agent. So again, boring, not all that interesting to me. But I have heard people who have the same issues that I have with the first book actually read the second book, and they like the second book better. They read the second book first, they went through the first book, and they're like, yeah, no, not good. But Samaritan, good. So we shall see what happens, because I could not. Also, I will say that I get so annoyed with, I was like, of course she has to have a child, because this protagonist is a child. And this could have been like, because I read this book right after I tried to read The London Library, so it could have been my frustration over how obsessed she was with wanting children, and like that whole thing in that book. So it could have been that was affecting this. But like, I find it so frustrating that every time there has to be, and she's constantly worrying about like her child, like, which is a natural thing, but we don't hear that same type of thing happening if the male detective has children. Like, they don't have that same worry, and I just find that really like weird. Like, shouldn't you care as much about how much time you're spending away from your children as the women do? Like, I don't know. Anyways, maybe I'm reading too much about it. Maybe I was just being really annoyed by that child just because of the other book. But anyway, I was really bored with that book. Didn't really like the writing style either. I will read this book because the same people who, like I said, had the same issues with the first one, liked this one and said it was better. So we're gonna give it a try at some point. Again, that was 2 stars. Then I read James, because we're running in 5 minutes. We're just going to go on to the next book that I read, and that is James by Percival Everett. I read this specifically because of the Booker Prize awards. The long list came out, and I was like, you know what, I don't really do words, and I don't really like words, but I will do these because these books actually sounded interesting to me, and I chose to read James by Percival Everett first, mainly for 2 reasons. Mainly because James was the one that I was most interested in, and secondly because it was the first one that I was able to get access to. I'm only going to be reading the ones that I am able to get access to without having to pay money for. So if it's like for my subscriptions or I can get it from the library, I will be doing it that way. But anyways, I was able to read James. I read it through Spotify. I didn't even know that you could get audiobooks through Spotify, but they have the audiobook for it, so I listened to it that way. And if you do not know, this book is a reimagining of the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain, but told in the perspective of James, who is an enslaved man of that time and who ends up on this adventure with Huckleberry Finn. I have never read that book, and I probably should have before I picked this one up. But anyways, even without that context, I really enjoyed this book. It was quite shorter than I was expecting to, and it read faster than I was expecting it to read. But I really but I found the whole discussion around code switching. He doesn't say code switching. He does. He says it in terms of like speaking a different language. He speaks a different language with white people versus other enslaved people, and I find that very interesting, especially in context of like when he goes on this adventure with Huckleberry Finn. Huck is like so confused, and I know some people, I saw a review where they actually just found that really, like, they didn't like the fact that Huckleberry was like confused by it and all, and that there's like this whole thing. But I was just like, I actually thought that made sense, because it was about the fact that he felt that that James didn't trust him, and he didn't like that. So it makes sense. Okay, it makes a lot of sense to me. But it's like he's dealing with a lot of like background language, and how language can be like a protection but also a danger, I would say. And I found this book really good. I do think that I need to read Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. I'm gonna be buying this book at some point. I think I gave it 4 stars. I found, okay, I don't really have a lot to say about this book. I just think it's really good. And I want to read Mark Twain's book. I know that a lot of people will say that that book is racist, and I would assume it probably is. But yeah, that's all I have to say about these 2 books. James, 4 stars. The Killing Season, 2 stars. I would love to hear your thoughts on either one of these books, and I will see you in the next video.